What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Aztec shenanigans here, unfortunately. This is not a recorded game, a casted match. It's me playing. This is a recorded game of a game that I played against Ping Yang, the legendary AI. Okay, so I don't think I'm going to be finding a 1v1 casted match for you. I wanted to give you one, but it's not going to happen. So instead, we're going to be talking about one of what I think is potentially the most powerful myth unit for the Aztecs. The Obsidian Butterfly. Now, how do you know that it's going to have the potential to be really good? Well, the basic requirements for a really good myth unit in Age Mythology is that either it costs wood or it costs gold. Myth units that cost food, while they can be really powerful, they generally are quite difficult to use because food is a resource that requires you to leave your base oftentimes, and it can be really difficult to actually just get the income to build that myth unit. So for example, the Mountain Giant or the Hydra, while they are incredibly powerful from a stat perspective, they're only really useful on maps maps that are like water maps, because you have that constant income of food, right? Of course, you can find certain situations where they're going to be really, really good on land maps where like you have tons of food, like on a marsh or something like that. But oftentimes it can be quite difficult to create a strategy that's going to be reliable every single game with those units. So this one here, the Obsidian Butterfly, it's costing wood, it's costing favor, it's in the heroic age. This is going to be the unit that I think that Teza is going to be really, really good at having the advantage in with, or making a strategy around, creating a strategy. It's kind of similar to the Tengu in that you can use the unit to raid really, really effectively. It doesn't have a jump, so it's pretty easy to actually defend against the raids by walling. However, the actual amount of damage that it can use in a fight is incredible. So the basic idea here is whenever you find a myth unit that's really good, the best way to create a strategy around that myth unit is to figure out what other unit I can build to basically create a unit composition that doesn't have weaknesses. So the unit that I'm going to recommend to go with the Obsidian Butterfly is going to be the Eagle Warrior. So the Eagle Warrior costs wood as well as gold. So again, we don't need food. So it's perfect for a fast heroic because we're not going to need to leave our base. We can get ourselves the Obsidian Butterflies costing wood. We can get ourselves the Eagle Warriors costing wood and gold. And we can make ourselves a really, really powerful army. So the idea is, if I build Eagle Warriors, they are a ranged unit. So weak against cavalry, weak against counter-ranged. But they're also good against ranged. So it's not like they're terrible against counter-ranged either. So how do we protect the weakness of the Eagle Warrior? Well, with the Obsidian Butterfly. And this unit here is going to be a really, really nice front line to prevent any sort of mass cavalry killing them. It's also going to be amazing to take out a ball of archers or counter archers that are trying to deal with you as well. Now, of course, your opponent can build heroes to try and kill off your Obsidian Butterflies, but still. Anyways, let's talk about the build here just a little bit. I did decide to not... Did I not? I feel like I probably should have got a cowl pulley attachment here, but I didn't. Or did I? I don't think I did. Oh, maybe I did. No, I don't think I did. Probably should have got a cowl pulley attachment here. If you're ever going for a fast heroic, you probably want to pick up some upgrades. I do go for husbandry here, which is going to allow me to eat my goats and have a similar amount of income as if I was on hunt. So while the goats have only got 100 food at the moment, and it's better to generally wait on it. If you've got a specific strategy to use them for, and it's going to limit risk, it's probably a good idea to eat your goats. So in this situation, I am going to go for the husbandry and get my goats in, and this is going to allow me to get a really nice heroic age timing, and then that's going to allow us to do everything else. So the armory comes down. Now, of course, in a game against a human, I might end up getting raided here. I might end up getting attacked here. So you do have to be careful. Going for a naked fast heroic is a little bit risky. The towers for Tezza are pretty good, so I think that in this situation, I could have skipped out on husbandry. I could have grabbed watchtowers, and while it would have slowed my heroic age down a touch, it would be perfectly valid and completely stop any sort of slight early aggression in its tracks and allow me to get my stuff online. And I do end up getting bitten in the bum a little bit here against the AI by not going for that. So I think that adding that into this is going to be a nice little addition. But I'm just trying to test this out at the moment, to be honest, just to see how it is. But you'll see when it comes into action just how strong this can actually be. So we're going to be charging over onto this side. I sacrifice a villager to start getting my trickle favor in. I probably should have done that earlier on. So as the way that the Aztecs work, you sack a villager, you get an upfront favor cost, and then you also get a trickle. So the earlier you sack that villager, the more favor trickle you're going to get, which means the more myth units you're going to be able to build from it. Of course, you do lose out on any actual resources that villager could have potentially been gathering for you, but favor trickle is still good. And yeah, if you're going for a favor strat, it's probably worth it. But anyways, of course, this sort of a strategy I think is quite all in. So it's all in the sense that if you lose your army, you're probably going to be losing the game here. But the army is so strong that I feel like you're just going to get so much value out of it non-stop, that even though your economy is going to be weaker than your opponents, as you can see here, of course, we're playing against a legendary AI. He's got 50% handicap. He's cheating. I'm behind on score by quite a bit here inside of this strat, and he does come in and attack me here. I probably should have actually just dropped Lullaby, to be honest, in this position, and then just giving myself just a little bit of time here. But anyways, you can already see that this Obsidian Butterfly is getting some nice damage off. I have to kill off the Pioneers here, and then the Obsidian Butterfly is going to be really, really powerful. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm a little bit under attack too hard, and I'm going to be getting myself my Eagle Warriors in to deal with all this. And even after all of this, one Obsidian Butterfly still alive after all is said and done, and is able to help me deal with everything else, and we're back to work. So, I mean, of course, this is not ideal. I didn't want to take damage here. I wanted to show off exactly what's going to happen, but anyways, I'm against Noir as well, so we Obsidian mirrored and stole Creation, and then we can use Creation here in the Heroic Age to get an extra 8 villages going, which is going to allow me to pump out a bunch of extra stuff. Now, of course, if I was not playing against Noir, I would be having to figure out some other way to use Obsidian Mirror. I do like this usage here against Noir. If I'm playing against Noir as Tezza, I'm probably going to be going for the fast heroics just because it gives me all of these clay peasants to offset the fact that I'm sacrificing villagers, and gives me that ability to get to my power spike and get to my army of Obsidian Butterflies and Eagle Warriors. So at this point, of course, I know what my AI opponent's doing, so I'm not really full sweating. I probably should be scouting out, seeing any angles to actually use these Eagle Warriors. They are a little on the slow side at 4.5 speed, so you can grab this tech here. I believe it's this one. And then they get 10% extra speed, and that's probably going to be really, really good for the Eagle Warriors as well. I think it takes them up to 5 speed. Roughly 4.9 speed, maybe, but 4.95 speed or something. Anyways, it takes them up to about 5 speed. That's not enough to raid a player with cavalry. So you might want to avoid raiding if they have cavalry out, but if they don't, at 5 speed, it's probably good enough to get out there and start doing something. This unit here as well can be used very early on to raid at 5.8 speed with the upgrade, which is very, very good. 5.8 speed is more than capable of getting out on the map and getting damage done. You're not going to die to any heroes. If your opponent does have cavalry, these units, if you have 2 or 3 of them, will probably be able to kill off the cavalry that are chasing them down anyways. But now that I've got myself a nice ball of units, this is the time to go look for damage. So I've got myself the 3 Obsidian Butterflies. I've got myself the Eagle Warriors. Yeah, this is where I think This is where I think that this strategy is going to be really, really strong. And I think this is going to be something that is going to be really fun to play around with for you guys on the ladder. Of course, with anything like this, there is a little bit of micro involved with making sure your butterflies don't just run in and die to heroes, and then also shooting scooting with the eagle warriors and making sure that they're always moving and stuff. You can already see that a ton of villagers dying here. Of course, I got a huge army, so of course those units are going to die. Later on, I'll show you what the obsidian butterflies can kind of do to a pack of villagers. But even so, here we've got this fight, and I see there's this one pioneer that I want to be sniping. Of course, a huge advantage here for the eagle warriors versus China specifically is that pioneers aren't a great answer for the obsidian butterflies. One, the obsidian butterflies have got 65% pierce armor, but two, you have counter archers with high range with the eagle warriors. Not counter archers, but good against archers with high range. So absolutely dominating that fight. And like, these are completely unupgraded, by the way. They've got currently zero upgrades. And then on top of this, with Tezza, we get the obsidian shard. So if we lose these obsidian butterflies, it's actually not the end of the world, so long as we don't lose them in an area where we don't have control, because it does take quite a while for the unit to actually spawn out. And then we get ourselves the what's AO. AO's in here. He's in here to help us kill off some buildings. One thing I've been noticing is that I think that the obsidian shard isn't actually random. I think if you lose a obsidian butterfly, you get an AO. And if you lose an AO, I think you get yourself the Tsitsi. And then I think if you lose the Tsitsi, I think you get the obsidian butterfly. I could be wrong. I haven't actually tested it yet, but that's my current running theory before I run in to test it after just what I've seen in the games. Anyways. Though that doesn't really make sense, because if I'm in the heroic age, if I'm in the mythic age and I lose a heroic age myth unit, I get mythic age units. Anyways, we lose another one here, and you can see I get another AO dude. Anyways, yeah. We're just going to keep on spamming out these units, these eagle warriors. It's a really, really easy strat to use as well, because macro-wise, it's just super simple. You only need a handful of villagers on food. Probably I would recommend about 4 to 5 villagers on food, because that's going to allow you to start getting yourself this tech. This is the one weakness, I think, or the difficulty of this strategy, is that the line upgrades for your ranged unit is not wood. So you have to get some extra food in to actually get that upgrade. But if you're just slowly trickling up the food, then you can start getting the upgrades in, and it's happy days. My red enemy here is doing exactly what everyone else would do in a situation where they're gold starved, which is trying to run over and get gold, and we will kill them all off. I currently have 4 obsidian butterflies. I lost a bunch of them already. I'm going to keep on spamming them out as you can. There's no sense in not. And yeah, we're gonna be good to go. I was trying to spot if my AO is gonna die and give me an obsidian shard, but he's not the second one. So anyways, we kill all the villagers, and yeah, this is going to be the basic premise of the strat, where we basically just keep on. We've got speed to push our opponents off gold, and we got a really strong army. And you're just going to look to get that gold starve and look to get lots of value here. And even though I should be behind on villagers, I picked up a bunch. I'm at 31 villagers here at 14 minutes. I haven't really lost any to raids. So you can see that, yeah, my economy here is struggling, but my army is just, I think it's really strong. And you can also see that the damage here on these obsidian butterflies is quite large. They picked up a bunch of units here. The special ability is really strong as well. And you also don't even need to really consider turning off the special ability for any really specific purpose. And you can split them up, and they start moving really quickly to get up to the top. And here is where, of course, damage is going to happen. Villagers die incredibly quickly to the special. And even more damage up onto the top, as my obsidian butterflies will dominate. Of course, there's 5 obsidian butterflies here, and of course they should dominate, but yeah. They're yeah. you guys get the idea, right? This strategy is going to be, I think, your go-to here for Tezza. You could also go the other route and get, which one is it? And get this one, the Titsa middle, which is also really, really strong because it costs gold, right? And it's going to allow us to do a very similar strat where we go Eagle Warriors and Titsas. This is, then you also have a nice god power as well, which gives you even more myth units on top of it. So either way, this is going to be your bread and butter, I think, for the cat god. Lion god, whatever. I don't know. But that's going to be it. I think at this stage, the Ping Yang is dead, and I'm not gonna bore you with the rest of this one. So tell me which myth unit you're most excited about watching in the release of the Aztecs. I think I'm pretty excited to see these Heroic Age myth units. I also think that some of the Mythic Age units are going to be really, really strong too. But generally speaking, in the early days of the launch of a DLC, you mostly see the early age myth units. So I think we're going to see a lot of the bunny rabbits. I think we're going to see a lot of the obsidian butterflies. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of the Titsas. And yeah, that's going to be me for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.